Welcome to the Women Veterans Alliance Wednesday webinar series. I'm Melissa Washington. I'm a Navy veteran, CEO and founder of Women Veterans Alliance and Women Veterans Giving. Thank you all for spending your time to watch this fantastic presentation that we have for you today. Just wanted to share something. If you've been on our Wednesday webinar series before, we've got a little bit of a change happening today, but a very good change. As you probably saw from the reminder email that you received, we're piloting a new app called Audience Graph, which we need your feedback on various topics throughout the webinar. You can tap, so if you've got the link, has anybody clicked on the link? If you have, you haven't. So I highly recommend just go ahead and go to this app, and what's going to look like is going to be similar to what you see on your screen. And we're going to ask you just to interact throughout this presentation. So as you can see, it's a very easy app to use. You'll just be able to click on the buttons. They will change, so the first two, and then they'll change through the presentation. You can tap any button 5 times for the emphasis. And if you want to rate this webinar throughout the event, there's a slide bar you can slide right there at the bottom. And you can just let us know, moment by moment, how you're feeling throughout the webinar. So with that, the first thing is, as you see, if you're happen to be on the app, the first thing is about Women Veterans Alliance. So I'm going to ask if you are a member of Women Veterans Alliance or know Women Veterans Alliance, go ahead and you can tap on the app at this time. But if you're not familiar with Women Veterans Alliance, we are a nationwide networking organization with our primary focus connecting you, women veterans, with each other and women veterans with resources. And those resources are all these great webinars that we have that are going to be happening throughout most of the year. So if you are familiar with the organization, please go ahead and tap that on the app as well. And if you see on the app, there is the unconference. Go ahead and tap on that. If you know the unconference, you're going to the unconference. The Women Veterans Alliance, our unconference will be October 8th through the 10th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Tropicana Resort. I highly recommend, if you haven't registered, you do that now. Early bird pricing ends May 31st. You can go to womenveteransunconference.com. And we also have our call for speakers open. So if you're interested in presenting in one of our breakout sessions, you can go to our website there and click on speakers and complete the application. Or if you know of a great speaker, please go ahead and forward them that link. It's going to be a fantastic 3-day weekend that we have scheduled for all women veterans, active duty, guard, reserve. Please come, and we're going to restore everyone's soul. So I'm very excited about our event coming up in October. So I want to just share real quickly, if you haven't seen it, you can see our April webinar series. I think we've got something for everyone. Next couple weeks is April 7th. We have the nuts and bolts of state and federal business certifications, followed by the 14th, the essentials of art in everyday life. And then on the 21st, we have cybersecurity for everyone. And then on the 28th, entrepreneurship, life begins with a yes. So if you're interested, you can go to our webinars page and you can register for those specific webinars. And we will be continuing to announce our May, June, July, August, and September webinars soon. So please join us on those webinars. And if you're not connected with us, we are on all social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you are not a member, I highly recommend you becoming a member. These webinars are for free, so you don't have to be a paid member to watch the webinars, but there are plenty of additional benefits that you can receive becoming a member. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our presenter. Here she is, Paris Love, CEO of the Paris Love Productivity Institute, is one of the country's foremost organizational and productivity coaches, a best-selling author on Amazon, highly sought-after speaker, and former U.S. Army Sergeant. Love has a tremendous talent for bringing order to chaos, providing her clients with streamlined, efficient, manageable approaches to running their lives and businesses. After many years of working with a wide variety of clients in a host of settings, she's honed in on her specialty, helping overextended professionals overcome the barriers that keep them disorganized, dissatisfied, and discontent in their life, business, or career. And I'm sure that's why all of us are here, Paris. So I am very much looking forward to your presentation. I'm sure all the others on here as well. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. I am so excited to be here. So I am Paris Love, the drill sergeant of productivity, and we're going to talk about where did the day go? How to maximize 24 hours and get more done effortlessly. Next slide, please. Anytime we talk about time management, it seems that there is an elephant in the room, but it doesn't have to be that way. Next slide, please. So what I'm going to share with you today is how to plan and schedule your time efficiently, set priorities, delegate, and how to delegate well, put an end to procrastination, and how to manage your workload. And we're going to tie everything back to the workplace because it's no good knowing information unless you know how to use it. Next slide, please. So who is Paris Love? I'm a former Army sergeant, and I'm lovingly known as the drill sergeant of productivity. Now, I was a sergeant. I was never a drill sergeant, but everyone calls me the drill sergeant. I was on the A&E Hoarder Show and the organizing expert for IKEA Atlanta, and I hold overextended professionals just like you accountable to doing the things they talk about, but they never get around to doing. I am super passionate about helping individuals gain confidence, be more productive so that they reduce bottleneck, realign their brain, and rejuvenate their bank account. I am a proud graduate of the VWise program, Bunker Labs 20B, 21R, as well as the ecosystem ambassador for Nashville. For 2020, I was a finalist for the Rosie Network Veteran and Military Spouse Entrepreneur Award. I am a graduate of the VIP program. I'm certified. I'm a small business owner as well as woman owned. And I really like that picture to the right. That was me in PODC, and I was actually the only female at that time. So I love showing that picture that women, we can do it, right? Next slide, please. I am an organizer and author and speaker. The picture on the left, that is me at one of our organizing conferences. So first of all, I am a ribbon hoarder. I love my ribbons, but I like to show that when I talk about time management, because the first half of the ribbons, those were committees that I was on. And the other half are fun sayings like, I run with scissors, I have OCD. I am an author of 10 published books. I have won awards for my books, as well as been on Amazon's bestsellers list. And of course, I speak on time management and organization. Next slide, please. So does time really matter? I want you to put a 1 in the chat. How many of you wish you had more time in your day? So if you wish you had more time in your day, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat for me. And I am looking at the chat so I can see that. Oh, wow. The chat's like blowing up. I see all those ones. All right. So I get excited when we talk about time management. So next slide, please. Did you know that the typical office worker is interrupted an average of every 3 minutes and 5 seconds? So every 3 minutes and 5 seconds, there's some type of interruption. And it takes as much as 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back on track. So when someone interrupts us, our brain has to catch back up and go, okay, what was I doing? Where was I at? And I'm going to talk about workplace disruption, but also because of the pandemic, a lot of us, we're working from home. So we're co-working. We have a different type of distraction, whether it's our spouse, our children, the cell phones going off, the emails are popping up. So we're going to talk about that as well. Next slide, please. So you're in the right place if you tried systems before and they didn't work. Or perhaps you have a difficult time establishing boundaries. You procrastinate, you don't have a clear and defined goal, or maybe you fall behind on daily activities. Next slide, please. So why is time management important? Managing time involves setting goals and objectives, planning, setting priorities and deadlines, making decisions, delegating, and scheduling. So you're going to hear me, can you go back one? You're going to hear me talk a lot about delegating, planning, and of course, we always have to have our goals and objectives. Next slide, please. So let's get started. I like to get right down to it. So we're going to do a little matrix. It's the urgent and the important matrix. Important, these are things that help you complete your goals. Something that's urgent is something that has a deadline attached to it. Next slide, please. So here's our matrix, and this is how we prioritize our tasks. So if you have a sheet of paper later on after the presentation, you can do this. So you have like a little grid. So at the top, you're going to have urgent and non-urgent, and on the side, important and non-important. So here are some examples because it's 4 quadrants. The first ones, these are our crises. This is like, oh my God, this is a hair on fire. We have to do this right now. These are time-sensitive items. Maybe it's a proposal that you have to get out. You have to reply to an email that's going to require, you getting a project or an invoice. Those are like urgent. Deadline. You get a project today and they say, I need this by April 1st. So that's a deadline. Important meetings, payroll, taxes. And I know that the tax deadline has been moved back to May 17th. But in our mind, we really should think, if you haven't done your taxes already, April 15th, because you know what's going to happen. Everyone procrastinates until April 15th and go, I need an extension. So now that it's extended to May 17th, people will still procrastinate and not get it done. But keep in mind, if you haven't done your taxes, think of April 15th. That way, if you don't get it done, you still have a little leeway time. Now, your second quadrant, this is like the big picture, but this is like non-urgent. Planning, goal setting, yes, it's important, but it's not like that urgent hair on fire thing, right? Productive daydreaming, I put that in. So this is okay, I'm gonna daydream. Oh, it would be really nice to get this client and I can do this deliverable. Maybe I can get this speaking engagement. See, that's productive daydreaming, right? That's important, but it's not as urgent as a hair on fire. Now, your bottom tier, your quadrants, quadrant 3 are interruptions. I don't know if you guys can see me, but cell phone, that's an interruption. Social media, junk mail, because you know that you're probably never going to read the junk mail, but you look at it anyway. Unnecessary meetings. These are the meetings, and I'm just going to be transparent and honest. These are the meetings we have. We have a meeting to see if we need a meeting. Like, really? Did we just have a meeting to see if we needed a meeting? That's kind of unnecessary, right? And meetings that you could have just sent me an email or a text for that. Did we really have to meet for that, right? Number 4 in quadrant, distractions, procrastination, unproductive daydreaming. This is wow, spring break is coming up and what are we gonna do? What am I gonna wear? Is that really necessary, like right now? Is it really gonna move the needle in our life or in our business? Like that unproductive daydreaming we can do later, right? This is a socializing or chatting either on social media, Messenger, texting our friends when we can really wait to the end of the day to do that. And I put busy work. A lot of times people say, oh, you're so busy. I said, no, I'm not busy. I'm productive. There is a difference between being busy and productive. Ants are busy. We need to be productive. Put a 2 in the chat if you resonate with that. Next slide, please. All right, Chris said he resonates with that. How do you control your time? Schedule time for completing tasks. Evaluate and change your physical workspace. Now, if you went back to work and you work in an environment, sometimes you can't really change your workspace, but you can also set boundaries. Remember we talked about boundaries earlier? You can set boundaries to tell your coworkers, these are my set hours. I work from like 9 to 12, and at 12, I go to lunch. So from 9 to 12, they should not disturb you. Even if you have to close the office door, they know that you are in work mode. If you have work from home and you are co-working with your spouse, maybe your children are home still, they haven't gone back to school, get a designated area. And I know a lot of times people go, well, Paris, I don't really know. I don't have anywhere in my home. I don't have a bedroom. I don't have extra space. Maybe the dining room table is your office. Maybe a corner in the bedroom is your office. You still have to set boundaries when you do that, because what happens when you're at home, you think, I can go do the laundry. Maybe I get up and go and eat. You know, I got to go to the dry cleaner. It's easy to get distracted. And then little Johnny goes, hey, mom, hey, dad, I need help. I need help like right now. Or they're like, mom, dad, can I get a snack? And you're like, I'm working. Like, oh. And what do? You're like, let me stop what I'm doing. Go tend to this. And remember, it takes 23 minutes for your brain to catch back up and you get focused back on that task. So when you go and deal with whatever's going on over here, when you come back to your desk and start working, your brain goes, what was I doing? Who did I need to call? So your brain has to catch up. So it's very reasonable to tell people, I need to work from this amount of time. If you cannot disturb me, unless it's one of those hair on fire things. And that goes to our learn to say no. A lot of times we get asked to do things and we're like, well, I really don't want to do it, but okay, I do it. Just say no. Just go, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. Oh my goodness, that would be a great opportunity. I don't have the bandwidth right now. Just like the buzzword, I don't have the bandwidth right now to take care of that. And people will respect that, because if you say yes, that means you're saying no to something else. And what you probably say, if you say yes to this, you're gonna have to say no to this. I don't know if you can see my hands or not. So be mindful of what you're saying yes to, and it's okay to say no. Next slide, please. Delegation. Remember the drill sergeant? Like, I hope you guys can see me now. You're like, do this, do that. You're like, the drill sergeant. I wanted to share a story. When I was in basic, we had 3 drill sergeants. I know this is back in the late 80s. And they were all male drill sergeants, which was absolutely wonderful, because if you guys remember back in basic, we were tired all the time. We would have to like go and catch a nap somewhere. And if you had a male drill sergeant, they had to announce themselves before coming on your floor. So that way, like they had to say male in the hall, and you could, so you had time to like, wake up, or if you were goofing off, like, pretend like you're working. But if you had a female drill sergeant, they could just sneak up on you and be like, what are you doing, private? And you're like, ooh. So I love that. But when we talk about delegation, it's an important skill to master as you learn how to manage your time well, because a lot of times we are doing things that really could be delegated. We have to release that control and let someone else do it, right? And it's okay to release that control. When it comes to delegating, think of it this way. If your time is worth $500 an hour, let's just say your time is your $500. Oh, I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, it
I don't see
froze.
the slide. Huh?
Can you see it? Yeah, it froze.
Oh, I can see you now. I don't see the slides.
Oh, got a little
Yeah,
technical difficulty here.
I see. But why redo that? I actually love that this happened because a lot of times it's having people like, oh, they freak out. I'm like, but this is actually great. I love it. So go ahead and put a chat if you love to delegate. Like no one's probably gonna put a 3 in there. Like, I'm gonna put a 3. I like to delegate. Yay! Think of delegation as like you get to be the drill sergeant and you get to tell other people what to do. Like, how awesome is that, right? Yay, we're back. All right. So we're going to talk about the delegation process. 1, explain why the job is important. And if you can hit it again, Melissa. 2, describe what is needed in terms of results, not how, but what. Like, why is this important and what do you need to do? Number 3, if you can hit it again, Melissa. Give the person authority that they need to do the job. So let's go back to basic. Drill sergeant would go, Private, I need you to do whatever it is. And you can go, okay. When we were in basic, drill sergeant went, I need you to do this. We were like, oh, we did it, right? We're like, oh, I got to do this. And, you weren't sure if it was going to be correct, but you got it done. Think of it that way because a lot of times, and as a private, you kind of took ownership of that. Even if you didn't know exactly if it was going to get done right, you're like, okay, you know what? I have to do this. I'm going to take ownership. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Then we became, some of us are still in the military or we're in the civilian world, and we're like, I have to do this all by myself. If I can't do it right, nobody else can. Or if I need it done right, I need to do it. So we have to learn how to delegate and give it to other people, release that control. If you can hit it again for me, Melissa. 4, indicate when the job needs to be completed and get agreement. So when we, back in basic, drill sergeant probably barked orders at us. Sometimes they told us exactly what we needed to do and how it needed to be done. Sometimes not. But in civilian world, we're delegating things and then we get upset because the person we delegated to either didn't do it right, didn't meet the deadline. We're frustrated and we go, this delegation thing does not work. When you delegate, again, explain why it's important, explain the details to them, and have them regurgitate it back to you. It goes beyond, do you understand what I need you to do? Have them regurgitate it back. Because if they can do that, you've explained it correctly and they can go on and do it. Can you hit it again for me, Melissa? Okay. I want to tell you a story about everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have got it done, but nobody did it. Somebody got mad about it because it's everybody's job. Everyone thought that anyone could do it, and no one realized that everyone would not do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when actually nobody blamed anybody. And that goes back to delegation, because that's exactly how it works out. Next slide, please. Ooh, go back one more for me. Oh. Let's talk about the P word. Woo, nobody wants to talk about the P word, and that is procrastination. Procrastination often gets in the way of managing our time well. We have to do the task anyway. Why not just get it done? Remember earlier I talked about the taxes? They normally are due April 15th. They moved the date back to May 17th. So a lot of people are like, well, I got some extra time. It's like it's an entire month. What's everyone gonna do? They're gonna wait to May 16th and go, oh my goodness, I didn't get my taxes done. I need an extension. And oftentimes when we procrastinate, in our mind, we tell ourselves a story about how long it's going to take. Here's a story for you. So a few years ago, I had a client that hadn't done their taxes in like 3 or 4 years. And you have to pay your taxes, right? So at some point, you have to do your taxes. And she kept saying, it's going to take me all week because I haven't done this in 3 years. I got to get all the receipts and the statements, and it's just going to take me forever. I'm like, okay, you have to do your taxes. Let's gather all the information. And she said, okay, I'm going to take the whole week off. This is what I'm going to concentrate on. So she started gathering her information. Guess how long it took her to finish? It took half a day. Yes, you heard me, half a day. She had everything that she needed. She had all the receipts, all the statements. She had everything she needed. But in her mind, she made it to be this really huge, overwhelming project when it really wasn't. So sometimes we're telling ourselves stories about, oh, it's going to be so long. I don't really like doing that. Why procrastinate? Because you have to do it anyway. Next slide, please. So when you procrastinate, eat the frog, baby. Eat the frog. The rule of frog eating is this. If you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first. So the point of that is, usually when we have a task, again, we make up this story and it's like, I really don't want to do this. Think of that frog. You're like, I'm just going to have to eat that frog and do it. And there's no right or wrong. Sometimes people like to eat the bigger frogs first and get down to the sweeter frogs, because the smaller they are, the sweeter they are. I don't know they are. I'm just making it up, right? They might taste like chicken. I don't know. But a lot of people like to eat the small frogs and work their way up to the big ones. So what that translates is, a lot of people like to work on the big tasks first and then work their way down to smaller tasks, or do smaller tasks first and work their way up to a bigger task. It's no right or wrong, but at some point you need to eat that frog. Next slide, please. So managing your workload, if you can hit it again for me. While email is beneficial in many ways, it is also a huge contributor of people's stress. Hit it one more time for me. And one more time. I'm going to stay here for a second. We teach people how to treat us. So emails, a lot of times I can look at people's phones and they have like 30,000 emails that haven't been answered. I'm like, ooh, how do you do that? Me personally, I don't like looking at the numbers. So I'm going to, make sure that I answer my emails and text messages. With your emails, we teach people how to treat us. So if you know that you email someone and they're like Johnny on the spot, when you email them again, you want them to be Johnny on the spot. If you email someone and it takes 2 or 3 days for them to respond, they've already conditioned you that it's going to take 2 to 3 days to respond, right? The greatest demand of our time is email. So what I do with email, I check it first thing in the morning. Something probably came through at night. I check it first thing in the morning, at lunchtime, and then again in the evening. Now, I am at a, if you probably seen in the background, I'm actually at a client's office. So I checked my email this morning. I'm not going to check it again until I get back to my hotel. And that's okay. Because if someone emails me something and it's one of those hair on fire, like, this has to be done right now, they can pick up the phone and call me. I always tell people if it's really important, they can call you. So when you're working, try to eliminate the little ding in the note in the background, because as soon as you hear that ding, you're like, "Ooh, what's going on?" Like you want to go and answer it. And again, it takes 23 minutes for your brain to focus back on, okay, what was I doing? And if you go and go, "Oh, there's a ding. Let me see who dinged me." So you're over there, I'm just gonna answer this one email. And then you get distracted by something else. You start looking at the junk mail. You go, "Oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, look, there's a sale at Macy's." And now your concentration is over here. And when you focus back on what you were doing, your brain has to catch up to that. And that can be very stressful, because when we hear that ding, we're like, "Oh, I have to respond right now." Do you really have to respond right now? Not necessarily. Again, if it's important, they'll call you, right? Someone shared in the, I think Melissa shared in the chat, stress equals email, with their Slack, Asana, SharePoint, Box, shared drives. Yes, I love those apps. Yes, yes. Next slide, please. Can you have a work-life balance? Yes, you can. I love it.
Aiken is
That's who
certain
you are.
he is your biological father, but your mother.
I think, oh, can you hear me now? Start where you are and recognize, you know what? My time management up to this point has been kind of poor. It's been slacking. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just recognize that and then go forward. Work smarter and not harder. That goes back to delegation. When you start to look at how am I managing my time? Am I really utilizing 168 hours every single week, 24 hours in a day? And you're going to notice that some of the things on your list can get delegated out. If you have distractions, try to minimize those as best you can, because I do understand if you're co-working from home, you have your spouse, you have your children, those distractions are different from when you're in the office. Even if you're still in the military, the sergeant comes in there, the major comes in there, we got to get up and salute. Those are distractions. So you can build those into your day, because usually if someone's coming to your office, generally they're probably coming in for something that's important, or they come at the same time. And if you have those coworkers that like to come in and chit chat, you go, "You know what? I would really love to talk to you right now, but I have a project that I need to do. Can you come back in half an hour, come back in an hour?" They can respect that. Prioritize your day. Do the things that are laser focused to getting you where you need to be. So if you're a business owner, focus on those revenue generating activities before you do anything else. If you work in a corporate environment or you're still in the military, work on those tasks that have the deadline. Work on the tasks that they may not have a deadline, but you know that they are important. For example, if you have new soldiers coming in or you're onboarding people into the office, there's a process that you have to go through. So that's important, right? And that goes back to setting your goals. When you look at your work day, look at what's more important, what can I delegate out, and go from there. Put it forward in the chat if you get that. Yes, Ms. Thompson, unsubscribe with emails, unsubscribe. Yes, because a lot of our emails are probably junk anyway, and we're like, why do I have that email? Go ahead and unsubscribe. And if you tell with your emails, if you say, "I'm going to read that later," no, you're not. No, you're not. And with the World Wide Web, you can always get it again, so you do not have to save it. Okay. Next slide, please. So here are some thought-provoking questions for you. And can you hit it for me? Melissa, hit it one more time. Who here has said, I'll get to that later. I'll do that later. I want you to, if you have your, well, I don't want you, I was gonna say, get your phone, don't get your phone. But visually think about this. When you look at a calendar, it's January through December, Sunday through Saturday, right? And depending on the month, it's probably 28, 30, 31 days. Is anywhere on that calendar, does anyone ever see later, someday, or one day? Go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. If on your calendar you see later, someday, or one day. I don't see any 2s. You know why? Because it does not exist. So from here on out, we won't say, I'll do that one day. Someday I get to that. Because when we say that, we're not going to do it, right? When are you checking your email? Again, first thing in the morning, you can check it at lunch and right before you leave for the day. If it is super, super important, they will pick up the phone and call you. Next, can you hit it again for me, Melissa? Where does the time go? Have you ever noticed that if you get up at 5 in the morning, you're like, oh, goodness, I'm gonna have to have lunch. And you look at your watch, you're like, it's only 8 o'clock. You're like, wow, I've really been working. It's only 8 o'clock. Get up at 9 o'clock and you go, well, I guess I'll stop and have lunch. It should be about lunchtime. And you look down at your watch, you're like, it's 5 o'clock. How did that happen? I don't know why that is. Like you get up late, like your day just goes. You get up early and it's like, wow, time like goes slow. You know, when you get up early, remember back to the military, when I was in, we got up at 3:30 in the morning and we accomplished a lot. I used to always, there's the military's motto, we do more before 9 than most people do all day. And I'm thinking, that's because we don't do anything after 9 o'clock. We did everything between 3:30 and 9. Like we were super productive, right? We had PT, we had breakfast, we started doing drills. And then we became civilians and it's like, well, what am I going to do today? And we're just like, like we're going in slow motion. So be very productive and laser focused throughout your day. Can you hit it again for me, Melissa? How are you maximizing 168 hours each week? Everyone gets the same amount of time. I don't get any more. You don't get any more. We get the same amount of time. And I'm going to throw a little nugget in there for you. 168 hours every single week. 10% of that, which is 16.8 hours every single week, should be self-care. Yes. 16.8 hours every week should be self-care. You probably heard, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. You know why? Because mama didn't take care of herself. So you need to build in your self-care so that you're not stressed, you're not overwhelmed, you're not frustrated. You have to build in that self-care. Take care of you. We are so used to take care of everybody else. When you do that, you're going to see how your time is maximized. Can you hit it again for me, Melissa? I set my timer there. Why are we spending time surfing the web, social media, or texting? Social media is a time waster. If you're going to be on social media, get on, get off. You might have to set a timer, 15 minutes and get off. Because if not, you get on social media and it'll be 2 hours later and you're like, why did I come in here again? Can you hit it again for me, Melissa? And what are you going to do differently? I know I went super fast on this, but you can have life-work balance and you can manage your time. It's about delegating, setting priorities, and really making a focused effort to really maximize those 24 hours every single day. Next slide, please. Something to ponder. It's how we spend our time here and now that really matters. So if you're fed up with the way you come to interact with time, it is so simple. Change it. Next slide, please. And so I've come to the end. I will love to talk to anyone who wants to go further. I know that I went super fast and you saw my timer go off. So I have to time myself because it is a time management presentation. But I am the drill sergeant of productivity. My email, my website, my calendar's there. And I'm offering a drill sergeant or retainer. So if anyone would like to have me on retainer to kind of pick my brain to do that, you're welcome to do that. I have a subscription plan. And if you subscribe to that by tonight, the first 10 people, I will send you a copy of my book, How to Maximize 24 Hours and Get More Done Effortlessly. If you enjoyed this presentation, please put a 5 in the chat, and I am open for questions at this time. Oop, I saw it. I saw a question. I love it. Thank you. I saw a question, Melissa, but I'm trying to go back to it. Melissa, how do you keep work and personal tasks separate, especially considering most of the personal tasks can only be done during normal work hours? I will schedule time out to do the personal tasks. So for example, I'm just going to use 9 to 5 as a regular work day. If you have to do personal tasks, I would do those early in the morning, say from like 9 to 11, and then you can focus on your work day. Or perhaps you work 9 to 2, and then from 2 to 5, you're doing a personal task. Does that help if you want to go further with what your personal tasks are? Then there's a question from Chris. What do you do when you need to send an email and then see all of the emails pending? I don't know. I don't know why your emails would be pending. Like once you send it, it should go. If you want to come off mute on that one, Chris.
Yeah, it's more, I'm going to send an email and then I go to my email and then I see, oh, I've got 30 new email that came in.
Oh.
I see those and panic and start working on those. And then I'm like, wait, why was I here in the first place?
I'm sorry to cut you off. Though some of those emails pending because they might be in the outbox. Mine are still stuck in the outbox. They haven't been sent. That's what happens to me a lot. In the outbox.
Yeah. So now I'm talking about those ones that have come in since I checked it this morning. And then
So I'm going to answer both of those. For the ones that are pending, and that is you start doing an email and then something else comes up. You're like, oh, I'll come back to that, or I need some more information. I will set a timer for like 30 minutes and just focus on emails. And so when you open up an email, you should respond to it immediately, because if you go, oh, I'm going to come back to that, we know that something else is going to grab your attention and you're not going to be able to come back to it. So for 30 minutes, you are laser focused. You open up the email, respond to it, send it. I know once you do that, you're like, okay, my 30 minutes are up. I was able to get through 20 emails. I'm good. And then you look at it again, you're like, oh my God, there's 100 more emails there.
Yep.
Do you have then ask yourself, do I have another 15 minutes to go through this? Because half of the emails that probably came through, you're like, oh, that's junk. I can delete. And you might have a handful left. If you have an additional 15 minutes to go through that, then go through it at that time. When that timer goes off, shut it down, because what's going to happen when you finish that, it's always going to be emails coming at you, always. So set that timer and say, you know what? This is the time that I've designated for checking emails. Let me go through it. The timer goes off. If you have some extra time to continue, do that. If not, then you check it again at the next designated time. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. First thing when you get in the office, check it again right before lunch, and then check it right before you end your day. Did that help?
Yeah, I just have to have that discipline.
Yes, it's all about discipline. you a veteran or are you active duty?
Veteran.
Well, sweet pea, guess what? All of my active duty and military, we have a lot of discipline. You know what? Remember, if drill sergeant was yelling in your ear, what are you gonna do? Get those emails done. You're like, okay. We have discipline. You know, it's interesting, and I'm a veteran as well. We had a lot of discipline and we accomplished a lot, but when we came into civilian life, I think we kind of got real lax and we beat ourselves up because that discipline is still there. The discipline is still there. It's still there. So we got to pull back to all that training that we had and go, you know what? 30 minutes. I'm going to check on my email. Okay. 30 minutes. I'm going to push back. I'm going to go and do this other task. The next time I'm coming to check email is 4 o'clock. Got to have that discipline. I'm trying to scroll up to see, the little chat's going kind of fast here. Repeat the 4 points of the delegation process. Yes, ma'am. It is, I don't have them. Number 1, explain why the job is important. Number 2, describe what is needed in terms of the results. Number 3, give the person authority that they need to do the job. Let them have ownership of the job. Usually when we want to delegate, we're like, oh, well, you didn't do that right. Like, give them ownership. Let them do it. Number 4, indicate when the job needs to be complete and get agreement. So that's you telling them what to do, being very detailed in that, and having them regurgitate it back to you. Let's see. Ashley said the balance with children is real. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes. This is your time to share event dates, questions, paperwork I need to fill out. Yes. It's a different type of distraction, and we've had to really adjust because a lot of things have really changed. But we've been in this a year, so we got this. So with your children, when you're working, you go, mom's working. These are the hours. If you have to close your door, and even if they have to give you like a little index card, green means I need you. It's really not that serious. A red card is, Mom, the kitchen is on fire. A white card is, I just had a little question on my homework. I need you to sign some papers. And, when you have those little color index cards like that, you can go, okay, that can wait. Of course, the red ones are, oh, hold on, let me go right now. Hope that helps you. Ashley said, how do you help people who have added to focus? I'm not sure. Ashley, you want to come up
how
here?
you doing? It's me again. I had somebody gave me a direct message, and I'll thank you for that. No, I have ADD. No, it's not added, and that's an attitude. It's the regular this for the ADD. So yeah, and it's adult, and it ain't going nowhere. So.
Oh yeah. So that's a really good question. Whether you have ADD or adult ADD.
Yeah.
Oh, so for that, I always suggest a timer, because it's really, if you have ADD or adult ADD, it is very easy to get distracted and trying to, like, you see the shiny coin and oh, let me go over there. Oh, let me go over there. You really have to do a timer, and I would do 15 increments, 15 minutes. If you can do 30, that's great, but use this like 15, and for 15 minutes, you are laser focused on that task. When that timer goes off, you can either add another 15 minutes or you can go, okay, I'm done with this project. I can move on to something else. But in the 15 minutes, your brain would go, okay, I can do this. I can be super focused. Let me see how much I can get done. And then when it goes off, you go, oh, I got a lot accomplished. I'm either done with the project or I can move on to something else. But you have to be laser focused, and that timer is really good, because if not, you're going to work on a task and then something's going to distract you, and you go, oh, let me do that. Oh, let me do that. Let me do that. Even going to the bathroom, you're like, oh, well, let me go talk to my coworker. If you're working at home, well, let me see what little Johnny's doing. Ooh, the neighbors out there. It's easy to get distracted that way. So that timer is going to be your best friend. I hope that helps you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Kathy said, how do you nicely tell people you don't have time to do A, B, and C? I'm in school full time and I have a girl. Let me tell you, Kathy, this is what you do. Someone says, hey, Kathy, I need you to do blah, 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 blah. And you go, oh my goodness. I'm so glad you thought of me. But you know what? I'm not going to be able to do that. And if you're, look, y'all see I had to breathe because I always tell people an emergency on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. So you have to be really nice to go, oh, I would really love to do that. I just don't have the time to do that. If this is a manager that or your boss that's saying, hey, I need this project right now, then you simply go, I would love to do that. I am currently working on this. Would you like me to finish this project and move to this project? Which one is more important? What is the priority here? And when you say that, it puts it back on that person to go, oh, wow, you know what? I didn't even know that you were working on that. You know, I can get Mary to do this. Or they may say, you know what? This is really priority. Can you do this right now? And then give back to that next project. You see how easy that dialogue is? But you can go, oh my God, that is so nice. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to do that. That's a nice way of saying it. And if you're in school, schedule time out for when you're gonna study. Schedule the time out when you're in class. Schedule the time out when you're working, because if you're doing multiple things, when you're in school, you're in school. When you're in work, you're working. Try not to mix. I know it's hard, but try not to mix those in. Believe me, I have 5 college degrees. I know. So it's really
That's really funny because I'm here at work doing schoolwork too. And it's so hard because the phone is ringing and oh my gosh. But
look, you know why? I used to do that too. And I'm gonna, it happens, but you know, I hope you can see me. I'm like, this is why I want you going forward, try not to do that. Imagine yourself as a business owner and you have employees and your job really is servicing clients. One of your employees is over there goofing off, he's doing social media, maybe he's in school, he's not doing what you're paying him to do. Would you be mad? Yes or no?
so what yeah, I'd be kind of upset.
Yeah. So while you at work, focus on work. And when you at school, focus on school.
That helps a lot. You know what? Because it's so stressful. I find myself in such a stressful situation doing my schoolwork while I'm at work because I never accomplish much. I mean, it's like, you know, I'm here at work and even on my downtime, I don't accomplish much at all. So it's really not worth it. So yeah, and then it's all my other family and friends know that I work full time and go to school full time, and they still, I mean, constantly ask me to do things, and I'm like, do you realize?
Mm-hmm. They don't.
And of course, I'm a yes person.
Oh, are you? Oh, let me ask you a question. You think you can loan me $1 million?
HELL, no.
Okay. And the reason why I asked you that, when somebody asks you something, but like it's the equivalent of saying, "Can you give me $1 million?" You're like, "No," whether I had it or not, no. So I want you to kind of remember that. Just like,
Thank you
what?
so much.
Like I would love to do that, but no. You know, I'm gonna tell you a story. When I started college, I was supposed to go to be a doctor. or OBGYN. And you know what my friends used to tell me? You study too much. You always studying. So what did I do? I was like, yeah, maybe I do study too much. I have a PhD, but I don't have one in MD because I listen to my friends. And this has been like 35, oh, I'm telling my age. 35 years later, I look at my friends, I'm like, they don't even have a college degree. And they telling me, you study too much. So that's why I mentioned setting your goals and objectives. When you have a goal, you're going to be laser focused on that goal. So when people start telling you, oh, you should do this, and maybe, no. If you have a goal and you start to go, oh, well, maybe I just put my dreams aside to do this. No, ma'am, no, sir. We're not going to do that. We're going to be laser focused. Just like when we're working on a task, we are laser focused. Once we finish that, then we can move on to the next thing. We can't go to the next thing until we do this one thing. And if your family know that you're in school, they shouldn't be distracting you. Because what's the first thing they're going to say? If you drop out of school, well, I knew she couldn't do it. Like,
Right.
You don't need to be distracted. Lose your number. Okay.
Thank you so much. That really helps. I'm writing on my sticky note. I just wrote laser focused. I'm gonna try really hard. Thank you.
Laser focus. Laser focus. You have a goal. Because here's another thing. This is for everyone. If you're chasing 2 rabbits, you can't catch one. Think about that. You're chasing 2 rabbits. You can't even catch one of them. I hope, and if you didn't catch that, you probably catch that later on in the night.
Paris, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. And your contact info is there. So as far as anyone looking to connect with you, for any of those that are still using the web app, the audience graph, there's 2 things up there. If you wanted to go ahead and take a look at that, as far as tap on of useful content, tap up to 5 times if it was great content. And then also 2, as far as our awesome presenter, Paris, please go ahead and tap on there your feedback. This was fantastic. And we will get this up once we close everything out. We'll get everything uploaded to YouTube, and we will send everyone the link out so that way you can look back through some things that you may wrote down or had questions or wanted to reach out directly to Paris. Please do so. And again, thank you all for attending, and hopefully we'll see you on some of our upcoming webinars coming up starting next month. Thank you again, Paris.
Wait, don't hang up, Melissa. This is Ashley.
Yes.
How do you get your book again? How do you ask Paris?
Paris, how do you get your book?
Sorry, I'm at my client's office, so his computer's ringing. I'm so sorry about that. If you sign up for the drill sergeant retainer, the subscription, I'm going to send that out to you free. But if not, you can go to my website, ParisLaw-ProductivityInstitute.com, and look under products, and most of my books are on there.
Okay, okay, and subscribe. Okay, I see it. Gums. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Great question. All right, everyone.
Thank you
Thank you so much.